Hello guys, welcome back to a video. I know it's been a while since I actually uploaded a video, but I have a reason for that. As you may or may not know, my PC had an AMD FX 6100 CPU in it. I had my cooler on it. I've also got my 8GB of RAM and so on and so on. However, my graphics card, my GTX 650 2GB by Zotac, started showing signs of failure, where it would turn my screen purple upon startup. So the bottom half of my screen was actually purple until my graphics card had warmed up a bit, and then it would disappear. However, during gaming load, so when it started hitting temperatures of about 50-60 degrees onwards, it started showing signs that it was failing because I was getting artifacting. I was getting, like, when I'm playing DayZ and Arma, I was actually seeing the grass textures were white blocks hiding people from me. I was losing frame rates, and in fact this video was the last one I actually recorded on my GTX 650 before replacing it. So as you can see, this is on Battlefield 4 on, I think, medium or low settings. I can't remember which one it is, but I'm getting anywhere from 45 frames to about 79 frames per second, so my frame rate is never really consistent. I mean, it's even worse in Battlefield 4, where I had to, like, turn down my settings, lows, just to be able to play the game. It was extremely difficult to play and record, and eventually when I was trying to attempt to use Shadowplay to get a good bit of gameplay I realised, oh, Shadowplay isn't working anymore. And I believe what had happened was the graphics card had overheated to the point where it had damaged the chip on the back, disabling Shadowplay effectively for me. I still had my GTX 650 and it was still recognised that Shadowplay would work, but it would never save the video afterwards. So I had a bit of a problem there. So after all these problems, I decided, you know, I'm going to stick with it, see how long it takes, and I went hunting around for a new graphics card. I was looking at, like, the GTX 750 and the 750 Ti, but they were still quite new and quite expensive, and I only had about a maximum of about £70 of budget, unfortunately, because of I haven't got a lot of money at the time. So I decided that it might be an idea to trade in my old graphics card and see how much, if I can get some money for it again, and then put that money towards getting a new graphics card. And that actually ended up being a place in the UK known as CEX, which is a recycling store, and they had a really nice looking Asus DirectCU 2 GTX 560 Ti in there that was going for about 80 quid. So I had £30 on me at the time, and I went in there, traded out my 650 for £50 in-store credit, and bought the 560 Ti, which I've now got currently installed in my system, which is why I can actually render out videos properly as well now. So I've got my 560 Ti in my system. It is the Asus DirectCU 2 variant. It's got 1GB of memory, which is all I need because I don't actually game at 1080p. I've tested out the card on Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. In Battlefield 4, I run on high settings at 60 frames per second and on almost every single map. The only maps I have to turn the settings down a little bit for are the second assault maps, specifically Firestorm and Caspian. Apart from that, I run at high on every single map at 60 frames per second. Battlefield 3, I can now run at ultra at 60 frames per second across most of the maps. Once again, Caspian and Firestorm being 2, I have to turn the graphics down ever so slightly 4. And sometimes I turn the anti-aliasing off, and that will give me a boost in performance and all sorts. So I'm actually really happy with the fact I got this GTX 560 Ti for £30 and got rid of my not soon to be living 650. Because I don't game at 1080p, I don't actually use a lot of the VRAM anyway. I think I've checked the card out I use at the moment, I use about 700 megabytes while gaming. That's of memory use. It is a Ti variant, so I can actually overclock this card if I ever wanted to. I have actually overclocked it a little bit. It already comes pre-overclocked to 830 MHz on the core, but I think I've got mine closer to 900 MHz, and I haven't had to up the voltage at all. So my system now contains the AMD FX 6100 overclocked to 4 GHz. I've got 8GB of DDR3 1333 memory. I've got a 120GB Kingston V300 SSD. I've got a Western Digital Caviar Green 1TB. I have my Gigabyte 970A DS3P motherboard. I've got my Novatech 500W power supply, which is the next thing I'm actually replacing, and I've got my Asus GeForce GTX 560 Ti, and that's my overall PC. It's actually a really good graphics card still, and a lot of them in eBay still go for £100, pushing £150 I've seen. The cheapest I've seen them go for is about 80, but I got this card for about 30 for trading in my old card. So I got rid of my card, which was dying anyway, and I can now play my games on even higher settings. Anyway, I will be uploading more frequently. I've got a video in the works at the moment that I'm enjoying editing, and it'll be uploaded relatively soon. As you can see, I got over 100 kills in this game after going back to Battlefield 3. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and I thank you for putting up with my delay.